Now, research suggests that 1 in 5 people will suffer from depression during their lives, but in the high-flying world of professional sport, it's still something of a taboo. So it may surprise many to hear that the former England cricket captain Freddy Flintoff believes he too suffered during the height of his career. And he's made a documentary speaking to other sports stars who, like him, have suffered real mental agonies in triumph as well as defeat, and yet felt perhaps too ashamed even to admit it. Here's Andrew himself looking back at the press headlines he attracted when he had to be rescued from a pedalo in the West Indies during the 2007 Cricket World Cup.
I've never seen it before. It's the first time I've seen any of the press surrounding what happened. I'm glad I actually didn't read them at the time it was happening. I was feeling so low, I was feeling so bad that if I'd have read that at the time, it might have tipped me over the edge. One of the things which stuck out more than anything, even though it was such a long time ago now, is the fact of, well, disappointment that people had in me, or the feeling I've let people down. And that doesn't just mean my teammates and my coach, but you think your family are reading that. You know, my mum's read it, my nan's read it, and probably a feeling of embarrassment and shame.
Well, Andrew's with me now. Thanks for joining us. Interesting look at that booze binge. It doesn't read well, does it? Fallen hero, all that. Was that you at your lowest ebb, do you think?
Yeah, the World Cup came off the back of 2006-07 Ashes, which I was captain for. And professionally, that was the hardest time for me. I was always good at accepting the pressures from the press and from the media, but on that trip, I put so much on myself. There was nowhere to go, and the pedalo incident was completely random, but that was a reflection of where I was at that time. I was struggling. I mean,
you're known as someone who, you know, you enjoy your cricket, you enjoy life, you have a good time, you have a few drinks when things are going well. The Ashes tour was a miserable time, clearly. Do you think for you it was about captaincy, responsibility, managing the team, or was it just it's depression like people get?
I think for me it was just the pressures on which I put on myself. And when I got given the captaincy job, it's one more job. You're looking after everyone else. And I probably needed to look after myself a little bit better. And doing the documentary, the more I've spoken to people like Steve Harmison, Ricky Att and Vinnie Jones, it's been a learning curve for me. It's explained to me why I was feeling like that at that time.
And why do you think it was? I mean, is there something about sport that tends to, you can see why it would drive people to feeling really low? I mean, or is it just, the fact is, we were saying at the beginning, you know, 1 in 5 people will suffer from this, and you found a few sportsmen who do.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, you mentioned 1 in 5 people, it's not exclusive to sports people. You know, sport comes with its own pressures, but so does everyday life for other people. So it's just one of them things. It's an illness which affects anyone. And hopefully by listening to Ricky, someone you'd never expect, a boxer, a hard guy who goes in the rings and fight people, speaking honestly and openly. Anybody who's suffering out there or feels like this can then seek help, because that's one of the things I wish I'd have done. I wish I could have spoken about it a little bit more openly and honestly.
But that's what's interesting, isn't it? Because look at the world of the dressing room, and it's not a place where you're going to say, not feeling too good today, boys, is it?
But I think it's changed a little bit with Marcus Trescothick speaking about it last year. I think some of the taboos are being broken down, and hopefully this documentary can add to that. But it was interesting speaking to Vinnie Jones, who played football in the 80s and 90s.
A real hard man.
Oh, you'd never expect it from Vinnie, and he said, you know, Wimbledon, bottom of the league, if someone had spoke out, they've got a clip. And that was very much how it was at that time, but I think now we're a bit more grown up about it, we're being educated on the subject, and people feel they can speak about it.
Do you think so? Because, I mean, it's particularly at the top end, you right up at the very pinnacle of your sport, its psychology is a massive part of it, isn't it? You're invincible, no one can beat me, you can't crack me, there are no vulnerabilities, and that's what a team takes with it, doesn't it?
Well, I think that's one of the things I found hard to speak about, and I didn't really use sports psychology and things like that. I just didn't want anyone thinking there was any chink in my armour. But you can give this public persona and you can walk out there looking all confident, but it's very different when you go back to your room at night and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're probably not that person you're portraying.
I mean, you stopped playing sport at that level. Do you still get bouts of feeling low? I mean, or is it something that went with the sport?
No, it's been tough actually, because I played my last game at 31, and though I've been lucky, I've had an opportunity to do some TV shows and, you know, I'm getting work. I swap it all to play cricket again. And that's one thing I miss. I thought I'd at least get to 34 or 35 still playing. And it's an adjustment, but I think speaking to some of these guys and finding out a bit more about myself and some of the things I went through has helped me deal with, you know, retirement and going to something new, because now in TV I'm new to it, I'm learning again. And you feel a bit, oh, this is a new world, and you get them insecurities coming back.
Yeah, well, you're getting plenty of it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I have to, my sports team will never forgive me if I don't ask you about England taking on Pakistan in the United Arab Emirates. Never had a test series there before. What do you reckon?
I think it's going to be tough for England. I think the conditions, I lived in Dubai for a while, I know the stadium, and I think it will suit the Pakistan team. However, I think we've just got too much quality. I think you look at the two squads, England is so good at the minute. I know we've lost Bresnan, who I thought is one of the unsung heroes of that side. He's the guy who does all the hard work, and he comes through and helps the side, so that's a knock. But they brought Onions in, who I think will do well out there attacking the stumps on low pitches, so it's going to be tough, but I just think we've got too much quality with the likes of Peterson and Cook and Strauss, so we'll be all right.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, okay. Me too.
Andrew, thank you very much.
Thanks
indeed.
very much,
Nice
thank you.
Thank you.